2023 didn't get off to the best of starts for many of the UK's workers, with strikes continuing across the country. I went to the Royal Hallamshire Hospital in Sheffield, where nurses are striking for the first time.
So why are you on strike today?
We're striking for fair pay for nursing because the profession is being undervalued, understaffed, and obviously that's affecting patient care.
Yep, and we've got two very good signs here. We've got "Our fight is your fight" and "More nurses, less nurses." What do they mean?
So it's the staff retention in the NHS is way down in the nursing profession. So obviously less nurses on the wards means less time for patients. So our fight is your fight. We're fighting for fair pay to keep nurses in the profession because we want to keep the NHS.
It is estimated that 500 people are dying per month because of the long waiting lists that have been created by this government. It is not strikes that are causing deaths.
Can you tell me a single shift where you looked around and thought, I have enough colleagues to look after my patients today. I have enough time in my clinic to see enough of my patients today, to dedicate the time they deserve in the first place. No, we don't. No, we don't have enough money. No, we don't have enough staff to deliver the service that we want.
Are you concerned about patient safety and patients getting the treatment as well as just pay?
Definitely, yeah. That is the pay is obviously we're striking for pay, but the pay is indicative of a much larger problem.
And we've got a lot of beeps behind us. Do you think the public support's been good?
Yeah, the public support's been great today. Yeah, fantastic.
So thankful for them.
The 1st of February saw a National Day of Action by the Trade Union Congress, with rallies taking place across the country to coincide with teachers, railway and civil service strikes. I went along to Sheffield, which had the biggest turnout in years.
Around South Yorkshire at some point in the last couple of years, you might have seen some stickers advertising a bloke called Donkey Dave. Well, here he is. What are you doing here at the protest today?
Well, I've just come to have a look, see what's going on, offer my support to trade unions, to the solidarity to people of Sheffield, or just out here fighting for the right to strike, the right to a decent pay rise, the right to funding for the schools, the universities, etc. And I'm absolutely very pleased with the turnout, Steve. It's still building. We're going to get a lot of people here today. Weather's not the best, it is dry, but it's cold and windy, so got lots of young people here, which is what I like to see. And hopefully we're going to have a nice march through Sheffield. Finish up down at City Hall with loads of speakers, talking loads of sense, I hope, Steve.
Get PR done. What's this time about?
Get PR done. We want to change the voting system. A minority runs this country on 43% of the vote, and they have 100% of the power. And we see every day what's happening. Unfairness is built right into the voting system. Unfair pay, unfair voting. Some votes are worth 20 times others. Where you live depends on the value of your vote. So we want to, in fact, change the voting system.
Yeah, and we've got a Tory government at the moment. Most of the people, however, in the country didn't vote Tory.
Exactly. Yet they've got 100% of the power.
So I work as a programmer up at the University of Sheffield.
Okay, so you're on strike today?
I am on strike today.
And what are you striking for?
I think what I'm striking for is, at root, basically fighting against the marketisation and privatisation we've seen within the education sector, within the higher education sector particularly, and reversing the decade of austerity and cuts and the attacks on pay and conditions and workload that's come with that. For me, what's brought me out today more than anything is the fact that this is one fight against the Tories that all of the workers of this country are engaging in. I think that's what today really kind of showed, having all the workers from PCS, from ASLEF, from the NEU, from UCU, all striking together, all against this anti-trade union law, to say actually we're going to stand up and fight.
So you're quite a big supporter of trade unions, aren't you?
I am a trade unionist all my life, still in unison, retired member.
Yeah, a couple of years ago though, well, no, about a year ago, you were out with me, Sheffield City Centre. We had about 300, 400 people supporting the NHS workers.
Yeah.
Not a single trade union in sight. What do you think about that?
What here?
Yeah, you know, I'm supporting NHS workers last year.
Well, it's difficult with unions. I mean, the sad thing is with this government, like, the unions have to be very careful. The unions have got plenty of money for the membership, why won't they? But the thing is with government, they're trying to get that money. As soon as they step out of line, they'll fine them, they'll vote to get the money off them. So it's really sad that we have to dodge about almost in secrecy to organise things. But I do believe, I don't think there's any MPs here, but 3 or 4 MPs in Sheffield. I think 1 or 2 will be here today. There'll be some union reps here, I'm sure there will be. I mean, like we just spoke to one, aren't we, Stephen, who sadly didn't want to come on camera. How sad is that they don't want to be targeted? It's bad. What a world we live in.
I hate the fact that I read stories about people who can't afford to put on their heating and it is costing lives. I hate the fact that some people I know go to food banks because the money they make from their job is not enough to buy the simplest things for them and their children. I hate the fact that our government has it get to this before they offer some measly 4% for some people.
Labour might be with a good chance of winning an election, but why doesn't Keir Starmer support proportional representation?
Well, Keir Starmer is not, even though 80% of the members in the Labour Party support PR, on this basic question of democracy, Keir Starmer doesn't want to seem to follow a democratic decision of his own party. Doesn't that sort of raise some questions? Is he putting his own interests, as he sees them, as if he's some kind of great tactical genius, ahead of the views of 80% of his own party?
So behind us we've got people on strike with trade unions. Is it the Labour Party doesn't really support trade unions anymore?
It is sort of strange. The Labour Party, where are they? Not even here. You know, the trade unions, you know, they support PR. They understand the importance of, in fact, every vote counting, but Labour's leadership doesn't.
The workload in universities has changed dramatically in the past decade and has been one of complete casualisation, and one where staff are on fixed-term contracts, forced to reapply for their jobs every year. They're on 0-hour contracts, they don't know what they're going to be earning, and generally they're being asked to do far, far more. You know, new staff or associate lecturers are being asked to run whole courses, and there's just unending loads of unpaid for work, and always this thing of like, oh, can you do this job? It'll only take 5 minutes. But if you have 1,000 jobs that take 5 minutes, you're suddenly forced into doing tons of unpaid overtime. And to be honest, at this point, universities completely run on that unpaid overtime.
Yeah. And the Tory government's trying to introduce legislation now to do away with strikes. Any thoughts?
Yeah, well, my thoughts are, if Tory government, wherever people abide to rules and laws, Tory government will keep fetching them out. My thoughts on that is, well, it's going to be like modern day slavery. If you don't, the only power we have is the right to strike, Steve. We can negotiate till we can't speak any longer. But the only weapon we've got what's effective is the right to strike. Take that away, we've blown it, mate.
Unlike the nurses who have gone on a strike for the first time recently, universities and colleges and teachers have been on strike many times over the years. Do you think people will just ignore the strike?
Yeah, I think this is the pessimistic tone we hear from, you know, the media, from the press, this thing of like strikes don't change anything. I think the UCU has been in a tough position where it's been on its own fighting these battles. I think there's been a bit of a crossroads reached within the union itself on what are we doing? You know, are we going to be going for an indefinite all-out strike, a militant action that brings all you know, the workplaces, all the universities on strike in a militant and clear way, or are we going to stick to the current tactics of the 1-day or 2-day strikes here and there?